Hey everyone, Proto here, and this is me bringing you part 3 of my 5-part series talking about legendary and exotic weapons. So, part 3 is going to be about legendary heavy weapons, and that's going to be the machine gun, LMG, or the rocket launcher. So, let's start this off with the machine gun. So, I want to talk about things that will be common for all legendary weapons again. The first column will always talk about the type of damage, that being arc damage, which is lightning, solar, fire, void damage, or you'll have kinetic damage, which is just standard damage. The fourth column will always give you a buff in attack power, nothing else, but then you'll unlock the second tier of skills, upgrades that you can get. And the last column will lock in all previous choices but give you another damage buff. So for this, we're going to start off with the second column, which is rounds for this gun in particular. So colony rounds have swarm intelligence, allow you to have more reserve and enhance impact. So you get more damage and you get to carry more ammo in reserve. Excuse me. So, good thing about this, there's no penalties to it. Unlike armor piercing rounds, which I'm going to get into right now, where although they have added mass, so that slows down weapon handling. I'll talk about weapon handling in a bit. And they have core rounds that overpenetrate targets. So, what that means is that it'll most likely have health damage on top of armor damage when you're shooting them with these particular rounds. Since we haven't been able to use them in the beta, we can't really be too sure about that. So like I said in the previous two videos, weapon handling probably has something to do with sway. We can't be too sure about that since we actually haven't been able to, no one's been able to test that as far as I'm concerned. So I'm just here to assume that it has something to do with sway. For our last rounds, we have high caliber rounds, oversized rounds built to stagger targets, leave them reeling. Heavier weapons, so it's hard to handle. So your shots will hit harder and cause more flinching. Focus fire, when zoomed, weapon fires slower, but it causes additional damage. So this is really good for the machine gun because the machine gun tends to have a lot of recoil when you're first starting off with your shots. So slowing it down would probably make it better. Like I said earlier, the fourth and last column are increased weapon damage. The last column, however, what it does is it'll lock in all previous choices. For the last column, it looks like it's a barrel. So the first barrel will be smart drift control, predictable and controllable recoil, which is also a great for the machine gun because once you get used to the recoil, as long as you don't have it jumping all everywhere, then you should be able to handle it fine. Next we have accurized ballistics, which is more range and impact but increased recoil. Pretty self-explanatory. Field choke has more range and impact, and it also increases recoil. So I don't really see the difference between those two. I guess the only difference would be like which one affects what more than the other. But other than that, they seem pretty similar to one another. Our last power up we have is Unflinching. It's easier to aim while you are under fire with this weapon. So when you're getting hit in every shooter game, you're gonna flinch. So what this does is it makes flinching easier to handle. Anyway, on to our next heavy weapon, we have the rocket launcher. Again, first column will be damage, fourth increased attack, and the last one will be a lock-in of your choices and another increase in attack. So let's start off with the second column, which is Warheads. So this smart Warhead has swarm intelligence, allowing you to carry more in reserve and enhancing impact. So just like the LMG, it has no downsides, just 2 pluses where you can carry more, and you have better impact, which in this case is blast radius for rocket launchers. That's different than the other ones. Also, if you look range, there's no range, just velocity, so how fast the warhead will travel. And we have light warhead, which allows you to carry more in reserve. That's it. I'm guessing it's going to be more, you can carry more in reserve than colony warheads, but we're not too sure. Field wire fragments, charged field wire shrapnels, enhance impact. So again, that's just to increase the blast radius. I'm guessing that colony is a mix between the two, while light is a better version and is an extreme version of increasing the amount of reserve, while field wire is better increase in blast radius. Moving on to our first power, we got tripod, which lets you carry 3 shots. So rocket launchers will generally carry 1 or 2 shots. With tripod, you can hold up to 3. Moving on to our second choice area, we have soft launch, which is less recoil but a penalty to range. Again, range in this case talks about velocity. Recoil is stability. I don't see why recoil wouldn't matter with the rocket launcher, but whatever. Countermass, less recoil, penalty to impact. Penalty to impact being impact in this case is blast radius. An aggressive launcher is more predictable recoil, enhanced impact, and shorter range and more recoil. So again, range, velocity, impact is blast radius. And for our last power up, we have surplus. So expect to find more ammo for this weapon, which is great. Would be great in the Crucible, because in the Crucible there's at certain times you get heavy ammo inbound, and when you get that, pick up that ammo, you'll get, I'm assuming that you'll get more of it. And also this might also apply to when people pick up heavy ammo and not you, and you kill them. Maybe then they'll drop more at, even though if they have like 1 or 2 shots, maybe they'll drop more than just those 1 or 2 shots, and you can pick it up. Because if there's too low of ammo that's left off, then you can't actually pick it up. So I'm assuming that this would be able, that you'd be able to pick it up whether it's too low, and also you'd also be able to pick it up just in case it's lying around the heavy ammo box. You'll get more from that. Anyway, to wrap this up, I want to be talking about legendary armors next episode. Episode after that, it's going to be about exotic weapons, and the main thing I'm going to talk about in the exotic weapons episode is the difference between exotic weapons and legendary weapons. Like, because they have the same amount of upgrades, but what makes the exotic weapons said amount better than the legendary weapons? That's what I'm going to be focusing on. Anyway, that is going to be the last episode for Destiny up until the actual game comes out. So after that video, until then, I hope to see you guys in my other video. Later.